These 3 words would drive him like nothing else. The pain of rejection would fuel a determination unlike any other. The transformation begins. The alarm clock rang at 5:30 a.m. Michael's hand shot out from under the covers to silence it. For a moment, he lay in bed staring at the ceiling. His eyes drifted to the small piece of paper taped to his wall, cut from varsity. Those 3 words sent a jolt through his body. Michael threw off his covers and got dressed in the dark. He laced up his basketball shoes and grabbed a ball from the corner of his room. Outside, the October air was chilly. The sky was still dark as Michael walked to the outdoor court at the nearby park. No one else was there at this hour. This is what separates the good from the great, he whispered to himself as he began his morning routine. Michael had made himself a promise. Every morning before school, he would practice for at least an hour. Every afternoon after JV practice, he would stay and practice some more. On weekends, he would practice until his arms felt like they might fall off. He would transform himself into a player that no coach could ever cut again. The JV season. The first game of the JV season arrived quickly. Michael's stomach was in knots as he put on his blue and gold Laney Buccaneers uniform. It wasn't varsity, but it was still a chance to prove himself. Coach Mike Hicks, the JV coach, gathered the team before the game. "Play hard, play smart, play together," he said. "Jordan, you're starting at guard." When the game began, something changed in Michael. All the anger and disappointment he had been carrying transformed into pure energy on the court. He moved faster, jumped higher, and played with an intensity that left everyone watching in awe. By halftime, Michael had scored 18 points. From the bench, he noticed Coach Herring watching from the stands, clipboard in hand. Michael's jaw tightened. He would show him exactly what he had missed. In the second half, Michael played even harder. When the final buzzer sounded, he had scored 35 points and led the JV team to a 20-point victory. In the locker room afterward, Coach Hicks pulled him aside. "That was impressive, Jordan. Keep playing like that, and varsity will be calling your name next year." Michael nodded. "Yes, sir. That's the plan." The growth. As the JV season continued, Michael dominated every game. Word spread around Wilmington about the sophomore guard at Laney who was too good for JV. Sometimes the crowds for JV games grew larger than for varsity games, all because people wanted to see Michael Jordan play. At home, Michael's father, James, noticed his son's growing determination. "You're putting in the work, Mike. I'm proud of you," he said one evening as they sat on the porch after dinner. "I'm going to be the best, Dad," Michael said. "Not just at Laney. The best anywhere." James Jordan smiled. "I believe you, son. But remember, it takes more than just talent. It takes character." Michael nodded. His father had always taught him about the importance of character, of doing things the right way. James worked hard at his job at General Electric and always provided for the family. Michael wanted to make him proud. Another important change was happening to Michael that year. He was growing. By Christmas, he had grown an inch. By spring, another inch. His body was getting stronger, too, from all the training and practice. When summer came, Michael didn't take a break. He joined a local league and continued to improve his game. He attended basketball camps, soaking up knowledge from every coach and player he encountered. Something else was fueling Michael beyond just being cut from varsity. During the season, he had watched the varsity team lose games that he believed they should have won. He imagined himself on that court, making the winning plays. Next year, he promised himself, things will be different. The return to tryouts. By the time sophomore year ended, Michael had grown to 6 feet tall. Over the summer between sophomore and junior year, he grew another 2 inches. When basketball tryouts came around again in the fall of 1979, Michael Jordan was a different player, taller, stronger, and more skilled. This time, there was no doubt. Coach Herring didn't even need to post a list. He called Michael into his office after the final day of tryouts. "You've worked hard, Jordan," Coach Herring said. "You've improved more in 1 year than any player I've ever coached." Michael stood tall, his face serious. "Thank you. So, you're not just on varsity this year. You're starting." The words felt good, but Michael didn't smile. He had expected this. He had worked for this. This wasn't a gift. It was something he had earned. "I won't let you down, Coach," he said. The rise begins. When junior year began, Michael Jordan quickly became the star of Laney High School's varsity team. In his first game, he scored 25 points. In his second, 28 points. By midseason, he was averaging over 25 points per game. College scouts started showing up at Laney games. They would sit in the stand with their notepads, watching the tall, athletic guard who seemed to fly through the air. After one game where Michael scored 32 points and grabbed 15 rebounds, a scout from the University of North Carolina approached Coach Herring. "That kid's special," the scout said. "We want him in Chapel Hill." Word got back to Michael about the college interest. It made him work even harder. If colleges were watching now, maybe one day professional teams will be watching too. Michael's mother, Dolores, noticed a change in her son. "You seem different this year, Michael," she said one night as he did homework at the kitchen table. "How so?" he asked. "More focused, more serious." Michael thought about it. "I have goals now, Mom. Big ones." Dolores smiled. "That night when you came home after being cut, I told you that you could use it as fuel. Looks like you took that advice to heart." "Every time I feel tired or want to quit practice early, I think about that list without my name on it," Michael said. "I'm never going to feel that way again." The college years. By the end of his junior year, Michael was named All-Conference and All-State. College recruiters from across the country were calling the Jordan home. His dream of playing basketball was becoming a reality. During the summer before his senior year, Michael was invited to the prestigious five-star basketball camp, where the top high school players in the country gathered. There, he continued to turn heads with his play. When he returned to Laney for his senior year, Michael was now 6 feet 3 inches and the unquestioned leader of the team. Coach Herring built the entire fence around him. "You've come a long way from that sophomore who didn't make varsity," Coach Herring told him during practice one day. Michael dribbled the ball between his legs. "That day changed." "How so?" "It taught me that nothing is given. Everything must be owned." Coach Herring nodded. "That's a valuable lesson. Some players never learn it." What Coach Herring didn't say, what he couldn't know, was how that decision would follow both of them for decades to come. It would become part of basketball lore, the coach who cut Michael Jordan. As Michael's senior season progressed, his reputation grew. He averaged nearly 30 points per game. In February 1981, he was selected to play in the McDonald's All-American game, featuring the top 24 high school players in the nation. When he received his acceptance letter from the University of North Carolina, Michael sat with his parents at the kitchen table. "I'm going to make something of myself," he told them. "This is just the beginning." James put his hand on his son's shoulder. "We know you will, son." What none of them could possibly imagine was just how far Michael's journey would take him. The pain of being cut from varsity had planted a seed of determination that would grow into greatness. The championship shot. The University of North Carolina campus was bigger than anything Michael had ever seen. In the fall of 1981, 18-year-old Michael Jordan arrived in Chapel Hill with his parents. They helped him move into his dorm room, his mother fussing over how to arrange his clothes in the small closet. "You call us if you need anything," Dolores said, hugging her son tightly before they left. "I will, Mom," Michael promised, though they both knew he wouldn't. Michael was ready to stand on his own. On his first day of basketball practice, Michael met the legendary UNC coach Dean Smith. Coach Smith was different from any coach Michael had ever known. He was calm, strict, and incredibly smart about basketball. "Jordan," Coach Smith said during that first practice, "at Laney, you might have been the star. Hey, you're a freshman. You'll earn your minutes like everyone else." Michael nodded. "Yes, sir. That's all I asked for, a chance to earn it." That first year at UNC, Michael learned more about basketball than he had in all his previous years combined. Coach Smith taught him about defense, about teamwork, about the mental side of the game. Michael soaked it all up like a sponge. Though he was just a freshman, Michael quickly earned a starting position on the team. His teammates, including future NBA star James Worthy, recognized his talent and work ethic. "Kid's got something special," Worthy told Coach Smith after one practice where Michael had dunked over 2 upperclassmen. Back in Wilmington, Coach Herring followed Michael's college career in the newspapers. He would cut out articles about the former Laney star and keep them in a folder. Though he never told anyone, he felt proud of Michael's success. The biggest moment of Michael's freshman year came during the 1982 NCAA championship game against Georgetown. With 17 seconds left and UNC down by 1 point, Coach Smith called a timeout. In the huddle, Coach Smith looked at Michael Jordan. "Take the shot." Some coaches might hesitate to put that pressure on a freshman, but Smith saw something in Michael, a calmness under pressure, a desire for the big moment. When play resumed, Michael got the ball near the left side of the court. With the clock ticking down, he rose up and released a smooth jump shot. The ball swished through the net with 15 seconds remaining. Georgetown couldn't score on their final possession. North Carolina won the championship, 63-62. In the celebration afterward, reporters surrounded Michael. "How did it feel to hit the winning shot as a freshman?" one asked. Michael smiled. "Coach Smith trusted me. I didn't want to let him down." What he didn't say was that in his mind, as he took that shot, he had thought briefly of that list posted outside Coach Herring's office, the varsity list that once didn't include his name. The NBA years and beyond. Over his next 2 years at UNC, Michael's game continued to grow. He was named College Player of the Year in his junior season. NBA scouts now regularly attended North Carolina games, and everyone knew Michael would be a high draft pick. After his junior year, Michael made the difficult decision to leave college early and enter the NBA draft. He had accomplished nearly everything possible in college basketball. In 1984, the Chicago Bulls selected Michael Jordan with the 3rd pick in the NBA draft. The Houston Rockets selected Hakeem Olajuwon with the 1st pick. The Portland Trail Blazers chose Sam Bowie second. Those decisions will be analyzed and second-guessed for decades to come. Meanwhile, back in Wilmington, life was changing for Coach Herring. He began experiencing health problems that would later be diagnosed as schizophrenia. The condition affected his behavior and eventually his ability to coach. By the time Michael was starting his NBA career with the Chicago Bulls, Coach Herring was facing the difficult decision to step away from coaching at Laney High School. In Chicago, Michael quickly showed he was no ordinary rookie. In his first season, he averaged 28.2 points per game and was named Rookie of the Year. His incredible leaping ability and acrobatic moves earned him the nickname Air Jordan. The Chicago fans fell in love with him immediately. The Bulls hadn't been very good before Michael arrived, but now there was hope. Attendance at games increased as people came to see the exciting young player from North Carolina. During that rookie season, a shoe company called Nike approached Michael about creating a basketball shoe with his name on it. The Air Jordan was born, and it would soon become one of the most famous shoe brands in the world. On the court, Michael continued to improve. He studied the game, worked on his weaknesses, and pushed himself in every practice. The fire that had been lit when he was cut from varsity still burned inside him. "Where does your competitive drive come from?" a reporter asked him after he scored 49 points in a game during his second season. Michael thought for a moment. "I hate losing. I've always hated it. But you learn more from losing than winning sometimes." What he didn't share was how that early disappointment at Laney had shaped him, how being told he wasn't good enough had created a determination that drove him every day. The path to greatness. The Boston Garden was packed with fans wearing green. It was April 20th, 1986, and the Chicago Bulls were playing the mighty Boston Celtics in the NBA playoffs. The Celtics were the best team in basketball, with stars like Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish. Nobody gave the Bulls much of a chance. They had barely made the playoffs with a record of 30 wins and 52 losses. But they had something the Celtics didn't. They had Michael Jordan. In his second season, Michael had missed most of the games with a broken foot. Doctors had told him he might never play at the same level again, but Michael had worked harder than ever to prove them wrong. Now he was back, and he was determined to show the world what he could do. As the game began, Michael felt a familiar fire in his belly. It was the same feeling he had when he saw his name missing from the varsity list years ago. Someone had doubted him. Someone had said he wasn't good enough. He would show them they were wrong. For the next 48 minutes, Michael Jordan put on a show unlike anything the basketball world had ever seen. He scored from everywhere on the court, jump shots, layups, dunks. The Celtics tried everything to stop him, but nothing worked. When the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard showed the Celtics had won 135 to 131. But the real story was Michael Jordan's performance. He had scored 63 points, the most ever in an NBA playoff game, a record that still stands today. In the locker room after the game, Larry Bird, one of the greatest players in NBA history, told reporters, "I think he's got disguised as Michael Jordan." Back in Wilmington, North Carolina, Coach Clifton Pop Herring watched the highlights on the evening news. Though his mental health was declining, he still had moments of clarity. As he watched Michael soar through the air against the Celtics, a small smile crossed his face. "That's my boy," he whispered to himself. Over the next few years, Michael's star continued to rise. In 1988, he won his first NBA Most Valuable Player award. He also won the Defensive Player of the Year award, proving he wasn't just a scorer but a complete player who could dominate on both ends of the court. The A. Jordan shoe line became a global phenomenon. Kids everywhere wanted to be like Mike. His face appeared on cereal boxes, drink ads, and billboards around the world. But team success was harder to come by. The Detroit Pistons, known as the Bad Boy for their rough style of play, created the Jordan rules, a defensive strategy focused entirely on stopping Michael. They would push, shove, and knock him down whenever he drove to the basket. 3 straight years. From 1988 to 1990, the Pistons eliminated the Bulls from playoffs. After each defeat, Michael would return to Chicago with an even greater determination. He worked on getting stronger physically. He improved his jump shot. He studied film to find weaknesses in the Pistons' defense. "Failure doesn't scare me," Michael told reporters after one painful playoff loss. "It teaches me." The championship years. In 1990, the Chicago Bulls hired a new coach named Phil Jackson. Coach Jackson was different from other NBA coaches. He had studied Eastern philosophy and Native American wisdom. He gave his players books to read and taught them meditation techniques. Most importantly, he helped Michael understand that to achieve true greatness, he needed to trust his teammates. "Your gift is your curse," Jackson told Michael during one practice. "You're so good that you think you have to do everything yourself." But basketball is a team game. It wasn't easy for Michael to change. The fierce independence that had driven him since being cut from varsity was deeply ingrained. But he respected Coach Jackson and was willing to try a new approach. The 1991 season became magical for the Bulls. Michael still led the team in scoring, but he also learned to trust teammates like Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant. The Bulls finished the regular season with 61 wins and stormed through the playoffs. In the Eastern Conference Finals, they finally defeated their nemesis, the Detroit Pistons. In the NBA Finals, they beat Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers to win Chicago's first NBA championship. As Michael held the championship trophy above his head, tears streamed down his face. All the hard work, all the disappointments, all the doubters, this moment made it all worthwhile. A reporter asked him what he was thinking about as he celebrated. "I was thinking about the journey," Michael said, "about every obstacle that tried to stop me from getting here." In his mind, he flashed back to that moment outside Coach Herring's office, reading the varsity list. It seemed like a lifetime ago. The Bulls went on to win 2 more championships in 1992 and 1993. Michael was now recognized as the greatest basketball player in the world. He led the Dream Team to an Olympic gold medal in 1992, spreading the popularity of basketball to every corner of the globe. But in July 1993, tragedy struck. Michael's father, James Jordan, was murdered while napping in his car at a highway rest stop in North Carolina. The 2 men who killed him had no idea their victim was the father of the world's most famous athlete. They just saw an expensive car and decided to steal it. Michael was devastated. His father had been his best friend, his biggest supporter, his rock. The man who had taught him to love basketball was gone. In October 1993, Michael shocked the world by announcing his retirement from basketball. He was only 30 years old and at the peak of his powers. "I've lost my desire to play the game," he told a room full of reporters, his voice breaking with emotion. "My father always said that when you lose your motivation, it's time to move on." The final chapter, Reunion. Many years later, as both men entered the later chapters of their lives, fate would bring them together once more. Michael, now the owner of the Charlotte Hornets, had achieved everything he could have dreamed of in basketball and business. Coach Herring had long since retired, his health challenges continuing to shape his quiet life away from the spotlight. The story of the coach who cut Michael Jordan had become basketball mythology, but the truth was more nuanced than most people knew. Through a mutual friend, Michael learned of Coach Herring's health struggles and his current living situation. Without publicity or fanfare, he arranged a private visit. On a warm spring day in 2022, Michael Jordan walked into the assisted living facility in Wilmington where Coach Herring now lived. The staff had been told only that a special visitor was coming. When Michael walked through the door, there were gasps of recognition. Coach Herring was sitting by the window in the community room. At first, he didn't turn around. His health had good days and bad days. Today happened to be one of the better ones. "Coach Herring," Michael said softly. The older man turned slowly. His eyes widened as he recognized a face that was known throughout the world. "Michael," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "You came." Michael pulled up a chair and sat beside his former coach. For a moment, neither said anything. What do you say to someone who played such a pivotal role in your life story? Someone who, without knowing it, provided a motivation that helped launch one of the greatest careers in sports history. "It's been a long time, Coach," Michael finally said. Herring nodded. "Too long." "I've wanted to thank you," Michael continued. "For years, everyone's told this story about how you cut me and how that motivated me. And it did. Seeing that list without my name on it changed me forever. But I've always known that you didn't just cut me. You put me on JV where I could play and develop." Herring's eyes glistened. "I knew you were special, Michael. Even then, you had something most players didn't. But you needed to play, not sit on the bench. You needed to develop confidence." "It was the right call," Michael admitted, "though I sure didn't think so at the time." They both laughed, the tension breaking. "I kept every article about you," Herring said. "Watched every game I could. You made us all proud." "I had good coaching," Michael said with a smile. "From the beginning." They talked for nearly 2 hours about basketball, about life, about the journey they had both taken since those days at Laney High. When it was time for Michael to leave, he stood and extended his hand. Coach Herring took it, but then pulled Michael into a hug. "Thank you," the coach whispered. "For what?" Michael asked. "For not forgetting where you came from. For understanding that sometimes the hardest lessons are the most important ones." As Michael walked out of the facility, he felt a sense of closure he hadn't expected. The story that began with disappointment had come full circle to understanding and gratitude. The coach who had once cut Michael Jordan hadn't made a mistake. He had unknowingly helped launch a legend. And the teenager who had once felt the sting of rejection had transformed that pain into the greatest competitive drive the sports world had ever seen. Some stories are too good to be true. Others are true but not quite as simple as they seem. The story of Michael Jordan and Coach Clifton "Pop" Herring was both a complex truth that had become a powerful myth, driving one of the greatest careers in sports history.